Hey everyone, here we are for game one. So let's hop in. Now Track is going to be playing some other fairly cheap decks, so hopefully things should be fairly balanced, and we're going to take a break after this game, after we see how it goes, to make some tweaks to our deck, maybe play a little better. Oh, and so this is a pretty good starting hand. We've got exactly the cards that we're looking for, our cheap interactive cards, and we don't really care about removal spells. I would really like a 1-drop with this hand. And Fairy Dragon is pretty good against him, so I'm going to mulligan this Pint-Sized Summoner. Succubus is another card that tends to be pretty good in the early game. You don't really care this much about this random discard because your hero power can make up for it later. So let's see what we've got. Yeah, we didn't get a 1-drop, but that's fine. So we're going first. Nothing to do on the first turn. And Druid can be a couple of different things. Hey, Track. Haven't seen you in a while. All right, so here I could play Succubus or Fairy Dragon. I know that his deck tends to include a lot of cards like Wrath, just because Druids always play Wrath, which kills Succubus pretty well. So I'm just going to play Fairy Dragon here. And I'm hoping that he doesn't really do anything too big to interact with this. It's kind of a difficult creature to interact with. This power makes it pretty strong against decks that are very spell-based, and Druid tends to be that. But mostly we just want to stay ahead on board. That's really the key, especially because with this hero power, draw 2 cards and take 2 damage. As long as I'm ahead on board, I can just use this as much as I want and win on cards as well. Just taking a quick detour into theory, there are basically 3-ish resources in Hearthstone you want to worry about. Cards, which you can use this to trade life for cards, life, and this sort of third abstract resource of board control. And so right now, I'm doing pretty well on board control, so as long as I can maintain that, yeah, well, it's kind of disappointing that I discarded my 4-drop, but anyway, as long as I can maintain that, I can trade life for cards, and I'll just be winning on every resource. And that's basically the plan with this deck. So, let's see what Track's up to. This is actually a pretty decent position for us because if he doesn't kill our guy, we can use Demon Fire and Life Tap in the same turn. And that should give us some nice speed advantages. All right, so he's using the coin. The coin is a way that they can come back from a tempo disadvantage. Oh man, look, he set us up. That was killer. All right, well, since we don't have anything to do this turn, we're going to start with a Life Tap. Yeah, Flame Imp's not bad. All right, so again, we're back to being ahead on board, and we're down a couple of cards, but we're really in okay shape here. Oh, and there's the Wrath I was talking about. All right, so now, well, on the bright side, he's wasting a lot of mana with his hero power. His hero power is not really that effective in the way that he's been using it. So now we have a couple of options. You can play Floating Watcher, or we can play Silverhand Knight. Floating Watcher, really we should probably save for turn 7. So when we can use it in hero power in the same turn. So we're going to play Silverhand Knight here. And so again, we just want to keep our plan of controlling the board and attacking. His plan appears to be just to kill all of our guys as much as he possibly can. All right, so that's kind of a problem. This guy's going to eat our guys pretty effectively. I don't really want to run out Floating Watcher here because then he can just kill it with this guy. I would like to set up a Stormwind Champion next turn, so I could Life Tap and then get something for Pint-Sized Summoner, or get something else to play along with Pint-Sized Summoner. That leaves this guy at 2 health, so that'll be a pretty reasonable trade, assuming he doesn't play a big taunt. But we have some removal, so let's see what we get. Yeah, we get some guys here. Okay, so I think we just want to play out a bunch of guys. Or we could... there's some consideration to hold a Flame Imp to play it on the same turn as Floating Watcher. But I think, again, our plan is mostly just control the board as best we can, get a bunch of guys out. Maybe in that spirit it makes sense to just kill the Spectral Knight. That means that next turn we can play Pint-Sized Summoner or we can attack with Pint-Sized Summoner and Flame Imp and Mortal Coil. No, but I think we'll be okay. we're just going to get in our damage while we can. So hopefully he's not going to play a big taunt creature here. If he plays a big taunt creature, we're going to have to reevaluate our plan. So let's see. He is right now thinking, how can he get the most out of his cards? This is going to be a pretty tough card for us to deal with because when it eats our Silverhand Knight here, he's got a 4/2 that, like our Fairy Dragon before, is pretty hard to deal with all our spells. And looking over this, the way this game is played out, one card that's sticking out to me as a little bit underwhelming is Pint-Sized Summoner. Even if he doesn't kill it, all it's really getting us is 1 mana, which is really not very exciting. Oh man, what is he doing? And is he ghosting? What's going on? Oh, but it did get us a Voidwalker, so that's pretty nice. Still, that Pint-Sized Summoner, it happened to work out, but it's not like it was working out in a particularly reliable fashion. Especially since this deck, normally you'd want to play this on turn 2 and then play a 4-drop on turn 3. 4-drop being a 4-mana minion. But this deck doesn't really play a lot of 4-mana minions, so I think this guy is on the chopping block. Also note that we haven't had any good targets for Demon Fire and Mortal Coil. So I think some of these spells, as Track was alluding to, are going to have to go. Yep, Druid of the Claw, sure. Okay, so we can use Mortal Coil to draw a card after we kill one of these guys. We can kill this guy with our Stormwind Champion, which is probably where we want to start out. So let's in general, I always want to draw first. Alternatively, if we're going to play Floating Watcher and use the hero power, we maybe should do that first. But that kind of locks us into the Mortal Coil play. This leaves a few more options open. So let's do that. And again, here we are. We're just controlling the board so that we can use our hero power as much as possible. And we didn't get anything. Druid decks don't tend to play a lot of sweepers, so I think we can pretty safely play this guy, draw another card. Drain life is good. And then I think we're just going to keep taking everything out. Yeah. And so now we've got a pretty huge board, and even though I could have gotten him down to 14 there, I've still basically got lethal here, right? This is 13, 18 damage. Yeah, so this is going pretty well. If he was playing a mage or something, we'd have to worry about Flame Strike, but he's not, so we don't. And so part of the reason why this went so well is because we had this plan of early board control to back it up with spells. It's a little bit concerning that we maybe have a few too many spells here. So let's see, we should probably work on maybe cutting a few of these spells for some more kind of, maybe some things that'll go well with the Pint-Sized Summoner. Okay, so he swipes here. We've still got a pretty big board here. I think we're going to start things off with a life tap because we really want to draw another creature so we can get value off of this Pint-Sized Summoner. So let's do that. Mortal Coil, that's something. He's at 8. So we've got 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 damage. Oh, so we've just got lethal. Yep. Oh, did I miscount? Must have miscounted. All right, well, sorry about that, guys. All right, done. And that's also why you don't click end turn before you've seen your last cards. I should have played Succubus there, but it's fine. I think we're still gonna win. He needs third swipe here to win. I don't know how he can win this game. Maybe he can. We've got a Bane of Doom, so it's going to be pretty hard for him to win. Nope. He's giving up. All right. See you back in a sec, and we will talk about some deck changes.